So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Look at my iPhone 11 Pro Max. It looks beautiful still. 22 months later. That is the aim of this video right here. I want to talk about if you should buy this now, kind of where it stands, and I do plan to do another comparison with this phone when the 13 Pro Max comes out. So be subscribed, get your subscriptions in now so you won't be able to miss out on that video come September. And anyway, let's begin by talking about the design and the build 22 months later. So the cameras got bigger on the 12 Pro Max. The edges got squared. This one is curved. It's stainless steel though, so very premium material, and the darker stainless steel, you don't see much scratching like you do on the silver models of this phone. Overall, a sturdy construction with a matte texture on the rear so it doesn't get all nasty with fingerprints and stuff like that. So overall, it's still a very premium look and feel, and I really love the midnight green. It's held up very well over time, so enjoyable color to say the least here. At 226 grams though, the build of this phone feels nice and weighty, so if you like that heft, this one definitely has it right here. It's quite a bit heavy of a phone. IP68 dust and water resistance is on board here as well. So overall, the look and design still kind of looking iPhone 10-ish with a little bit of 11 flare on it. The squared edges is taking iPhone forward. However, I will say that it's aging pretty well here just because it has that nice matte texture on the rear, has a nice triple camera system, and just a beautiful display on the front. Okay guys, so talking about the display, 22 months later, it's extremely bright, 800 nits. We don't got to talk much there. It's more usable brightness than most phones that compete on the market. Even now, 2 years later, there are a ton of phones that cannot get nowhere near as bright as this thing usable. Somebody gonna say, "Oh, Nick, what are you talking about? I don't need that much brightness." Listen, you're gonna definitely like it if you're the type of person who likes to really see the difference between a very dim display and a very bright display. Some phones, you'll raise the brightness slider up and it looks like it's the same brightness all the way through. Let me know if you're one of those people down below. Now, you do have the lovely True Tone. We got dark mode night shift. You know the drill here with Apple on that front. I didn't like how this phone did take away 3D touch. It makes these press actions right here just a little bit slower. They just don't look super quick anymore after they got rid of the 3D touch. Now, I noticed here in iOS 15, even in the reader mode, they kind of don't have the text cutting into notch anymore in Safari. So that's pretty good because that was a problem before. I always used to complain about that, but here in iOS 15 doesn't seem to be cutting into that text anymore. So that's a good thing. That doesn't mean I like the notch. I still don't like it, but they at least fixed that. If we go over here to video, we press play. This is actually my iPhone 11 Pro Max video test. I'm going to leave this video linked below. I worked all day making this video to show you how great this camera actually is. All this footage right here you're seeing was shot on 11 Pro Max. Take a look for a second. But you'll see right here, the notch does cut in just a bit. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this video linked down below if you want to check that out real quick. This will show you a lot of the type of video quality you can get out of these cameras. But the display, back to the display, very good overall. Super sharp text, 458 pixels per inch. There's no complaints here with it. It's very strong. I think most people are going to absolutely love it. It's still a very high-end premium panel. So in the way of software for the iPhone 11 Pro Max, of course, the app library is new here with iOS 14, and it gets even better here in iOS 15 with some more features like focus features are going to help you get even more productive. You got the FaceTime features and stuff like that. The software on board is definitely going to probably have 14 if you buy this from somebody at this current time, but if you wait a couple months, it should be updated to iOS 15. There are plenty of updates coming to this one. It has an Apple A13 Bionic chip, so that'll help it out. In addition, you do have yourselves tons of widgets now, so they're taking more advantage of this larger screen. Using the 11 Pro Max now is actually more fun to use than when I first got it and it didn't have this widget support. It was like wasted space on this large screen. I would still like to see a split screen mode. We're still not seeing that for the iOS software. You know, it's still going to be one app at a time. There are studies that say that, you know, the human cannot multitask properly or something like that. You know, humans cannot actually literally multitask. We more like task switch, kind of like like when you go like this. So having multitask, we had to do two things at once, but I beg to differ. At least having it on a phone, I still like having two apps side by side here, top and bottom. That would be nice for this device. Other than that, it's world-class software with the updates. You're going to get them updates. They're coming, and they're coming quick, and they're coming for a long time. So a major win there. In addition, if we talk about the speed, I mean, come on. We're just wasting time. I'm not even talking about it. We're just going to waste time on this. It's quick. It's the Apple A13 coupled with 4 gigs of RAM. This thing beat it on a bunch of phones and speed tests I created in the past. I'll put actually a link to one of my best speed test videos between this and another phone. I'll link it down below, maybe up in a card as well. But performance, strong. Software, strong. 22 months later, it's holding on like it's brand new. It's pretty insane how much better these iPhones are getting in terms of the hardware. Their software has always been really long lasting, but the hardware is so good now that you can even keep these phones longer, especially if you go with the Pro line of devices. All right, Nick, you might be convincing me to get the 11 Pro. If that's what you're saying, 11 Pro Max, what about the storage though, bro? Listen, I'm going to tell you, the 256 gig is that safe sweet spot in my opinion. However, you can get this with 64 gigabytes. I don't recommend that. I think it was the 12 Pro Max, they started bringing the 128 to begin with the storage. But I gotta say, you can see as I've only used 80 gigs. Sometimes I do move stuff off of the phone, but you can get this up to 512 gigs. And you'll see that there's these new features that are always coming in the updates, try to help you manage your storage. I will say the camera doesn't take much space when taking a lot of photos. It's really those apps that are gonna add up, start adding up the storage. And if you use the 4K 60, other than that, the memory on here, 4 gigabytes of RAM, holds apps pretty well. Although that 6 gigs just makes it like impossible to reload on the 12 Pro Max. So this right here, pretty good with the 4 gigs of RAM. The storage though on board, the 64 gig, I'd say stay away from that. If you're gonna invest in a phone like this, go with the 256 gig just to be safe. Okay, 22 months later with the camera system, aging like a fine wine. This thing, I swear, if you were to buy this one right now, there's not a lot of phones that can beat this device in the camera. A triple 12 megapixel camera with incredible software tweaking, like when you take a photo, the software knows what to do to get such an excellent result. There's really just no issue with this right now. Like there's no complaint besides the fact that it can't zoom as far as some Samsung phones right now. Other than that, I mean, you can go 10x, you have the ultra wide. This was such a game changer for iPhone, and it's like the phone that's going to usher the new camera age for iPhone. You see it with the 12 Pro Max get even better. This was the phone that really started taking iPhone to a level of, I don't need a camera anymore. This was that phone. So right now, you still don't need a camera if you buy the iPhone 11 Pro Max right now. I mean, even the video, you can go up to 4K 60 and you don't even have to leave the app to do this anymore. So very nice. And then on the front, one of my absolute favorite things I love to talk about all the time is that they match the front-facing camera with the rear. It's a 12 megapixel that can do 4K 60. This is super important for people who don't have a camera crew. They're trying to make social media videos. They're trying to just make videos of family or whatever. They want the stuff to match up with the rear. You just got to hold it with one hand. You're going to get excellent video on the front. Before you would sacrifice video quality, not anymore. 12 megapixel camera on the front. The selfies are strong. You can back it out a little wider, come in a little bit closer. There's just no issues whatsoever. In addition to that, if we go here, you'll see right here, you have the ability to go 16:9, a little bit more professional features on here. Of course, there's camera apps all over the all over the App Store to help you out even further. I will say the portrait modes have improved. HDR video on the newer iPhone, but not everybody even uses that feature. The camera's still really strong. Here's some samples. Check them out. 22 months later, I love the 11 Pro Max's camera. I still think it's amazing. So you may be wondering about the audio.
Technology, and welcome to this iPhone. Still wider than prior iPhone. Not sure if you can see it. It's a little bit higher up here.
So it's still a very crisp, loud experience here with the audio on both top and bottom stereo speakers. Apple really has been improving the audio quality since the iPhone 7 when they axed the headphone jack. It's just been getting more crispy, a little bit more loud, a little bit more punchy, although the 12 Pro, not that much different from this device. But, you know, once we got to this device, we were starting to see really great stereo speakers on board. So you don't really got to worry about it there. Now, the battery life, I will say, one of my favorite things about the 11 Pro Max has always been the battery life. I also created an all-day battery vlog on the iPhone 11 Pro Max where I went out all about my day, and check it out. I'm going to leave it down below up in a card. But this battery life has always been something that makes me very happy with this phone. My battery health did go down. It's still recalibrating right now, but it did go down to 98%. And, you know, that capacity could go up. I would like if it would go up, but I don't think it's going to. Either way, I was still getting ridiculous battery. This was a super impressive phone, and it really took iPhone up a notch when it comes to battery life. So don't worry about it there. Another strong area of this phone is the battery life. Okay, so what did I not like about this phone? Well, I wish they would have put ProMotion. You know, the S20 came out right after this. The S20 line, S20 Ultra, those phones just destroyed it with the 120 hertz. So it just looked a lot smoother than this phone. And this phone was only out about 6 months or so when those phones did come out, maybe even 5. I think their launch was a little bit early. This phone really wasn't that smooth in terms of the one not having the ProMotion. However, it was still smooth in the sense that iOS doesn't really look laggy ever. So being so optimized, software and hardware, even with a 60 hertz, that didn't sway people's purchase decision. However, that's just something I personally thought Apple could have put in at this time. I think we were already ready for ProMotion when this phone came out, but we haven't even seen it on the 12 Pro Max. So maybe we're going to see it here on the 13 Pro Max, but I wish it had ProMotion. That was just one of the things I thought. The next thing you can see right there, my bars always look like that on this phone. I'm never getting the strongest signal on this device with these Intel modems. There it goes, says, shut up, Nick, I just went up one bar. And I found that my 4G wasn't even that fast when I was out and about. So the 12 series really cemented itself as one of the better mobile performance phones for me, and one of the better, you know, overall, you know, phone call experience with just better reception in all areas. So that's something I didn't like about this device. So 22 months later, with the 13 Pro Max on its way, it's not really slowing down sales of iPhones anyway, even though it's coming. Should you look for an iPhone 11 Pro Max? On the side, you can't get it at the Apple Store, but should you look for this phone? I say yes if you want a cheaper, not super cheap, but you still want a super large iPhone premium that can last you the next 3 years, and you don't want to pay the $1,200 price tag, not even $900, $1,000 for the 12 Pro Max. This phone is plenty solid enough, and it definitely is a step above something like the iPhone 11 and the XR, because those phones don't have anywhere near the same level of quality on display or camera. The 11 is close in camera, but it doesn't beat it because it's a triple versus a dual. And this overall premium feel just gives it more of a longevity feel, just having, you know, more of a premium build, premium back. It just feels like it's just gonna feel nicer for a longer time. So that's it for me. iPhone 11 Pro Max, 22 months later, I'm talking with a smile because this is one of my favorite phones Apple ever made. Let me know your thoughts about the iPhone 11 Pro Max right now. If you have one, please consider sharing your experience with the community. It helps people out who are looking through these videos on YouTube, deciding what to buy. It does help them out. And subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. Be sure to be well. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one, and peace.